All right, so this is going to be the remediation for the Algebra Review Summative. So if there was anything that you were confused on, we need to go back over. This will just walk you through the questions on that review sheet. Okay, so first couple questions we're asking you to evaluate. So evaluate always means we're going to plug in something. Right, something for X, plug in something for Y. We're just going to plug it in or replace it, and then actually calculate it. Okay, so anywhere I see an X, I'm going to put that in parentheses. I'm going to put a 4. Okay, and then anywhere I see a Y, I'm going to replace that with a -2, also in parentheses, anytime you plug something in, and then -11. Okay, so now this is order of operations, or you could just grab your calculator. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times -2. So that's plus -8 and then -11. And then again, you can just grab your calculator. This is just adding these things up together. Okay, so 12 plus -8, that's like 12 minus 8. Oops, that's 4 minus 11, so this would be -15. Okay, so evaluate, you're plugging it in. Question like number 2, you have to be careful with. So this is also evaluating. However, you have a negative. So this negative needs to stay. Okay, then for X, you are plugging in -5. Okay, you have the squared, and then it's plus 9. Okay, so here's the tricky part. Remember your order of operations. There's parentheses, but there's nothing to do in the parentheses, so next would be exponents. This has to come before you say, oh, negative and a negative makes a positive. You have to do your exponent first. -5 squared means -5 times -5, which is positive 25, but this negative still comes down. Okay, so that's kind of the tricky part. And then -25 plus 9 would be -16. Okay, so just watch that negative. All right, order of operations. That's PEMDAS. If you need a reminder on that, that's parentheses, exponents, multiplying, dividing, adding, subtracting. Okay, so just remember multiplying and dividing, those are on their own level. So if that's all you have left, we just go left to right. Same with adding and subtracting. So those we just go left to right. Okay. So yes, again, you could just grab a calculator, type these in. We want you to know order of operations as well. So thinking about order of operations, this first one that has parentheses, so we need to do that part first. Okay, so I'm going to leave the 6, the plus, the parentheses is going to be 5 minus 2, which is 3. Okay, next part would be your exponent. Okay, the exponent is only attached to its base. This would be 6 plus 3 squared is 3 times 3, that's 9. And then 6 plus 9 is 15. Okay, number 4 then. There are no parentheses and there are no exponents. Okay, so next is the multiplying and dividing. But remember, multiplying is not necessarily more important than division. We just go whatever comes first. So right here, this would come first, the division. Okay, so I'm going to leave the 8, leave the plus. 16 divided by 4, that's 4. Now I still have times 5 minus 3. Okay, so then next step would be the multiplying part. So 4 times 5, that's 20. Leave everything else, and now you can just go left to right. Okay, so 8 plus 20, that's 28. 28 minus 3 is 25. Okay. All right, next section is solving, right? So solving, we want to basically just get x by itself. So I always say if it helps you, draw your line down your equal sign so you remember what you're balancing over. Okay, so this one, we want to do whatever is not attached to x first. So that would be the minus 12. The opposite of subtracting is adding. Okay, so that'll cancel. So I have 8 plus 12, that's 20. Okay, now this means 5 times x, so I'm going to undo that with division. And then my final answer would be 20 divided by 5, which is 4. Okay, Now, on a question like number 6, you have x's on both sides. So you can choose what you want to do first. Okay, there's not like one exact right way to do this. Some people like to move the x's first. Some people like to move the numbers first. It really doesn't matter. Maybe I'll move my x's. I'm just going to pick this 4x and I'm going to move it. That's a positive 4x, so to get rid of it, I'm going to subtract. Now I have to do the same thing on the other side of my equal sign under that like term. Okay, so I'm going to put that here. That cancels. So 6x minus 4x, that's 2x. Bring down the minus 8, negative 14. Okay, now I have my x's on one side. Now I need to move my numbers. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. So that'll cancel that. So we got 2x equals negative 14 plus 8. That's negative 6. And then our last step, we can divide by 2. That's the opposite of multiplying. Negative divided by a positive is a negative. Okay, so negative 3 would be the final answer on number 6. Remember, you can always pause me, go back, re-listen to something if I went too fast. All right, number 7. This one has parentheses, but I can't do anything in the parentheses right now, so we want to get rid of the parentheses. So this is distributing. Okay, I'm not distributing the 11, though. I'm distributing whatever is right in front of the parentheses, which in this case is a negative 1. So I'm going to bring down that 11, and then remember, distribute means multiply. So negative 1 times 6x, that's minus 6x. Negative 1 times negative 5, that's plus 5. And now this is a multi-step equation, right? So I'm going to draw my equal sign. So common mistake would be like doing this. This would not be correct. We can only do opposite operations on both sides of the equal sign. So instead, what I would want to do first is combine my like terms, like just put these together, not move one from the other. So 11 plus 5, that's 16. And then I have minus 6x equals 25. Or you could have flipped the 16 and the 6x. Okay, now I want to get my numbers on one side, so I'm going to minus 16 because that's a positive. So I get minus 6x equals 9. Okay, now I can divide, because this means multiply, by negative 6, divide by whatever's there. So now I have 9 over negative 6. Okay, you could type that in your calculator, or you could reduce that. So remember your rules for reducing. If you can divide them both by a number, you can simplify it. I can divide these both by 3. So this is going to be 3 over negative 2. Okay, so those are just some reminders of your solving rules. The last thing that we talked about, target 4, was inequalities. So first step was just graphing on a number line. Okay, so we have to know our symbols. So remember, there's greater than, points to the right, less than, and then there's the or equal to's. So this is greater than, or equal to, and then this is less than or equal to. Okay, if it points to the left, it's less than, right, it's greater than. So when we're graphing, I typically just like putting 0 somewhere in the middle and then put this number where it belongs. So like 3 is bigger than 0, so I'd put 3 here. Okay, this is where you always put your circle. Okay, so remember we're going to use, for these two, we use open circles. For these two with the or equal to's, we use closed circles. Okay, so 8a, that's just a greater than symbol. There's no line under it, so I'm going to put an open circle, and then that's greater than. So it's all the numbers that are greater than 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, infinity. Okay, so that's what that would look like. All right, so this one I want negative 2, so that would be to the left of 0. Okay, this one's going to mean a closed circle. And then that's less than. It's pointing to the left, so I'm going to shade to the left. Okay. All right, last two is then just solving. So just like an equation, bring down your line, opposite operations. So x is less than or equal to -3. Okay, draw your number line. It's got the or equal to, so we're going to use our closed circle. And then shade to the left. All right, last one has a couple other steps. I see parentheses, so I'm going to distribute first. So 7 times z, oops, that's 7z, plus 7 times 1. Don't forget to distribute all the way. That's 7. Keep my inequality. Okay, now here's one where you have the variables on both sides. So again, you can kind of pick what you want to do next. I just like moving the letters. So I have 10 is greater than or equal to 3z plus 7. All right, I'm going to minus 7. So I got 3 is greater than or equal to 3z. I'm going to shrink this up because I wrote too big. Okay, now I want to divide by 3, so I get z by itself. Okay, so this one I have a couple problems, right? So I need the letter on the left side. I can't graph my inequality yet. So I need to flip this, okay? When you flip the letter and the number so that the letter's on the left, you also have to flip the sign. So this needs to become less than or equal to. Okay, nowhere in this one did I divide by a negative. Okay, if you divide or multiply by a negative number, that's when you also have to flip your sign. Okay, so I have 0, I have 1. This is going to be a closed circle. And then we shade to the left. Okay, so hopefully you've answered all of the practice questions. When you're ready to do a retake, come talk to your teacher, and we will talk about when and where we can do that. Thanks.